Well, hello, old chaps. Welcome from the digital domain. Is I your bringer of bell ringers and your maestro of mayhem. Alright, so I'm here to talk to you once again about economic systems. And we're going to talk about a few problems with the command and free market systems, which leads to our third system that we'll discuss here. And so it's best that we start off discussing the problems with these two because that's what leads into our third system that we're going to discuss. Um, and we'll start off here with command. This slide's more about command, problems with the command economy. Um, that there is a lack of innovation because the government tells us what to create, uh, that they're not in competition with one another. So, lack of competition equals this lack of innovation. And so you don't wind up with these cool cars like this, these futuristic things that could come out. Now, they will have some innovation, but they do not have the near amount of innovation that exists in the markets, the free market system. Okay. They also have a lack of potential for success. Everybody is given assigned their jobs, they're assigned their wages. You're told what you're going to have. Remember, they believe in more of an equality. So you're less likely going to make it into this dream house of yours here, with this beautiful pool and this wonderful view, etc., etc. Um, you're going to probably have the same thing that your neighbors have. You're going to be doing your lives are going to be very similar because no one is going to be more successful than the other. And yes, it still comes down to kind of how you spend what you have. Uh, but if you all have the same, there's less chance that somebody's way more successful than the others. All right. Choices are also limited. The government decides that we're going to manufacture, tennis shoes. Well, they might manufacture a couple of variety of tennis shoes, but they're not going to have the variety that's on a free market system because everybody's trying to outdo and get their piece of the consumerism. And so they're competing with each other and they put out all these various types of shoes that are slightly different from one another in order to distinguish yourself. It's going to be like this. This is what kind of like your closet would look like. All the suits look the same. Your pants are the same. Your suit jackets are the same. Your shirts are the same. Um, Everything winds up being limited. You don't have as much choice in a command system. There's also slower reaction time to demand than with a free market system. Uh, Kind of like this guy here, he didn't react fast enough. Whenever there starts becoming a demand in the free market system, consumers that goes straight from consumers to producers. Well, remember that there's that third step. Uh, there's a third step. Hold on, I'm trying to get this. In which it goes not only from consumers to producers here in the free market, it just goes straight here. Consumers to producers, and then it goes back. But if you got the command system, it has to go up to the planners, and then the planners send it to here, which is the producers. So it takes longer. And sometimes it takes these planners a little while to see what is in demand by the consumers. Okay? And so sometimes that takes time to happen. Um, so those are some of the problems with the command system. Well, and one of the we said the primary goal in the free market system is freedom. And so what happens when two people's freedoms interfere with one another? You wind up with two problems called coercion or fraud. Coercion is the use of force or threats to affect someone else's choice. The way I think of coercion, think about the mobs. You know, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. Imagine the Godfather, or, somebody there, Luca Bracca sleeps with the fishes. Um, so they're forcing you. If you don't do what they say, then you're gonna get some concrete shoes. You know what I'm saying? Or something's gonna happen to you. pick any of your shows or movies with the mob or with some of these groups, Sons of Anarchy, when they come in and push in a group, hey, you're gonna do this or bad things are gonna happen. Fraud, and this is an intentional misrepresentation of the truth for monetary gain. So you get groups that lie. They want to make money. They want to sell you this product, but they lie about what the product can do, and they lie how dependable the product is. So you wind up buying the product, and it winds up being bantha fodder, and so you just are like trying to pull out your hair and all over it. So the coercion and fraud are problems when these freedoms interfere with one another, because you have the freedom to buy a dependable product or a good product or to be told the truth, and they have the freedom to lie to you. Well, then the government makes laws against these kinds of things in order to try to maintain freedom. Okay. Also, in order to have freedom, you must have resources or private property. Individuals have to own the factors of production. Well, but what if a factor of production is something that is vitally needed, but the person who individually owns it doesn't want to give it up? So these are problems you can run into with a free market system. Now, they say that there are market forces that drive us to unintended outcomes that lead us to things, and these market forces sometimes work for the good or work for the bad. Um, and one of the things is profit motive. It's the desire to make money from production. If I'm producing something, I'm not generally doing it for free. I want to make some money. I want to be like Scrooge McDuck over here and able to swim through my money. Profit is whenever your total revenue minus your total costs, and that you have, when you're above, that your total revenues are more than your total costs. Loss is your costs being higher than your total revenue. Okay? So profit is when your total revenue is more than your costs, and loss is whenever your cost is lower than your revenue. Now, incentive is a cost or benefit that motivates the decision or action. And a guy by the name of Adam Smith, this is a big time name in economics, this dude right here, Adam Smith. He wrote a book, well-known book, especially one related to economics. It's called The Wealth of Nations. And he said that there was this great big invisible hand. Ah, the hand's getting me! Ah! Okay, so he says this invisible hand, it does these market forces. It's what leads us to these unintended outcomes. And government intervention should be limited. He said so. There should be a little government intervention, but we should limit it to only protecting competition, free choice, and private property. Well, what happens is when government starts getting their hands in it, they want more. So it's hard to be nowadays. A lot of economies, there are problems with command economies, problems with free market economies, that a lot of economies are going to a mixed economy. This is our third type that we're talking about, is a mixed economy. And basically it is a mixture of both free market and command economies. It has a little bit of both. The government has it's like a free, most of the time you wind up with kind of like a free market, but with the government having heavy regulations. It's what we have here in the United States. The government does a lot of regulating on businesses and what can be produced, how they have to produce it. The Better Business Bureau tells they have to have all their facts straight. They can't lie about products and so forth. So there's a lot of regulations. The EPA comes in and says it has to, it can't be hazardous and all these things. So they put all these regulations on what these producers produce. And then there's regulations about, consumption and so forth. So that it leads to, what is known as the mixed economy. All right, so that's it for this lesson. Until next time, deuces. Ooh, that was rough. Deuces.